For sure. One of my favorite things at reInvent, and I don't get to do it too much because I'm typically pretty busy, but is to walk the expo hall for two reasons. Number one, it helps me figure out what's going on in tech. There's so much going on all the time, and seeing all the different companies at all their different booths is a great way to figure out like what people are focused on, what problems they're solving. And two, of course, the swag crawl through the expo hall. You got to get the swag, right? Like that's something that I enjoy a lot too. You can get enough t-shirts to last you for the year almost.
Yeah, I definitely go for the pins and the stickers. So
oh, nice.
Those are always good ones.
Now, speaking of one of my favorite things to do at reInvent, we've got some people here to talk about their favorite things at reInvent, right?
Yeah, and I think the wait is over. So everyone that's been hanging out waiting, I'll bring our first guest in. So we have Bill Vass, our VP of Engineering. We have Jeff Barr, our VP of AWS Evangelism. We have Annie Hancock, our Director of Brand and Creative, who makes her and her team makes the magic happen at reInvent. And then last but not least, Swami.
What a panel. I'm super intimidated, number one. This is an incredible amount of experience and incredible amount of people that make reInvent happen, both from the product, the engineering, and the actual event itself come together and delight our customers. We're so excited to hear from all of you. Let's start with Annie. Let's just do a quick round of introductions for anybody watching who may not know who you are, which I highly doubt, but we'll do it anyway. Annie, kick us off.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Annie. I work on the reInvent team. So this will be my 9th reInvent. So I've been around almost from the beginning. Core part of getting the event to life every year. And I'm excited to be here and talk about reInvent with you all.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Annie. Jeff, you know, I think most people know who you are, but let's hear your intro.
All right. Well, I'm Jeff Barr. This will be my 11th reInvent. I'm VP and Chief Evangelist, and I spend most of my time writing content for the AWS News blog, which I founded in 2004. So we just hit our 18-year anniversary.
That's awesome. And it sounds like you have some construction going on. You're probably hard at work making sure all the reInvent sets are getting set up, right?
I wish I was building sets, but actually after months and months of planning and prep and scheduling, it turned out today was the day that they decided to install all of the cabinetry and desks and everything for my cool new home office. So there's a little bit of background noise here.
Awesome. Well, thanks. And then we'll jump to you, Bill.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It'll be my 8th, I guess, coming on 9th reInvent coming up for this. So I'm pretty excited about that. Our team, geez, we've had a lot of interesting services in our team, everything from S3 and Kinesis, CloudWatch, all the messaging services, things like that. But we focus a lot now on the emerging technologies, quantum computing, robotics, simulation, autonomous systems, space systems, a whole bunch of interesting things. So edge, IoT, connected cars. So there's a lot of exciting things going on at reInvent this year for us.
Yeah, just a few things. Well, and last but not least, Swami.
Yeah. Hey, my name is Swami. I run database analytics and AI/ML in AWS. I've been with AWS for probably 17 years or so since I joined as an intern. So, and this will be, I guess, my 11th reInvent. If this is the 11th year of reInvent, you stop counting after a point. So.
Definitely.
He's being modest. He's like the master of ML.
Yeah, definitely. No, and we're so happy to have all of you. This is obviously, we want to make it as roundtable as we can. Obviously, we're not at a roundtable, but thanks for all of you for sharing how long you've been at reInvent. But I'm guessing a lot has changed since Swami, the first one, and Annie, the 9th one. So I would love to hear a little bit about how it's changed over the years, but also how it stayed the same. If you wanted to kick us off, Annie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely gotten a lot bigger. We were just at the Venetian when I first started. But I think a couple of things have remained the same. One, we're really passionate about this being a learning event, and we have never taken our focus off of making sure that we have great content for our customers to learn about AWS products and services. So that is the first thing. And then I think the energy is just always the thing about reInvent that is not recreatable, and we have worked really hard over the years to keep that energy alive. You can feel it in the hallways. As soon as customers get there, the excitement, the passion for what we're talking about and what we're doing, that is the magic of reInvent, and we are so glad that we have kept that going all these years.
Yeah, I can attest to that personally. One of my first reInvent back in 2016, I was working for a company that didn't utilize AWS heavily. I was a big proponent of AWS back then and still am, but at that company specifically. And my first time getting to go to reInvent was the first time I had ever gotten to be surrounded with people who shared the same level of passion that I do with AWS. And I finally felt like I was vindicated, this isn't, because there were so many people there. And each year, that's one of my most anticipated things that I like to do is meeting with all of the people. Specifically, one of my favorite groups of people to meet with are the community heroes too. The AWS community heroes are incredible, and they truly are some of the most passionate people about AWS, and I love hearing from them, both the good and the bad. They are very honest with us, and I love learning from them. Jeff, what about you? How has it changed, and has it stayed the same?
Well, let's see. So the funny thing, I just went back to the blog post I wrote that announced the very, very first reInvent in 2012, and I found this phrase that still applies today. It says, I want to emphasize that this is not going to be one of those stuffy vendor conferences. And I think that's totally accurate. I have this really amazing memory of the first keynote was one of those before and after dividing lines for me, where up until I walked into the keynote room, it was clear that AWS was something really interesting and things were happening and we had all these great customers and we're launching services. But when you're just really sitting at your desk and typing stuff and traveling to talk to customers, the scale isn't really self-evident. You can see numbers of, well, this many instance hours and this many objects stored, but it's hard to turn that into actually something meaningful. But I remember walking in early to the keynote room, and we had then what was this really amazing, huge number of 6,000 chairs set up for our customers to go in and hear the keynote. And suddenly this concept of AWS in my head of like, yeah, it's this cool thing that we're doing. It turned into like, wow, all these people came here just to hear about this. And it turning abstract into reality of like how big this was going to be. Now, at this point, 6,000 chairs is just nothing. But
that sounds small.
It was a big time for them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love that story. It's kind of, we all, whether you're a customer, you work at AWS, you're working on those small pieces and then showing up, it's seeing all those pieces in that picture together and really getting to hear from great speakers for different keynotes and really get excited about those launches. I know being in that room when you're hearing these things being launched for the first time is you can't replicate that anywhere else. It's amazing. So, but Bill, what about you? You've been doing it for a while, and I know there's a lot that's happening, not just for reInvent, but all around for your team. But yeah, how has it stayed the same, and how has it changed for you?
Well, I think it has very much stayed a learning conference. Like, for example, with this reInvent, you'll be able to come to the IoT sessions and learn how to turn your phone into an IoT sensor and shake it and watch it change on the cloud and turn it into a video streamer and turn it into a GPS system and things like that. So you'll be able to do a lot of hands-on things and then download the source code and cut and paste it and use it all over the place. So I think the training is really, really good. I think my favorite thing about going to reInvent is seeing all the amazing, cool innovation our customers do on AWS on top of our services. So I think, getting to be with your peers that are also working on AWS, I think too, our engineers love talking to customers, and our customers love talking to the engineers. So I talk to the person who's, working on the storage tier on S3, or the person that's building, the latest extension to DynamoDB, or the latest, 5G deployment on snowballs, or whatever it is that you're involved in the field. Working with those customers and those engineers together is really exciting. And then seeing what your peers are doing and learning from your peers is another big important point. And then, I think AM mentioned hit the exhibit hall, not just the swag, but it's just so cool to see, again, all the things our partners are doing. And then you'll get to talk to hands-on to some of the AWS engineers there as well with the things they're doing. So it's just been exciting to watch it grow. I would highly recommend comfortable shoes.
Yes,
It is very big. Hit the keynotes. The launches are exciting for our customers to see new things, and you'll find we really listen to our customers. And there's that's one of the things that a lot of the customers tell me over and over again at each reInvent is like, wow, you listened to all the things we said, and this reInvent, you launched them just from last reInvent, and you did that over the last year. So I think it's a great place to help shape our products.
Bill, you're also you're setting chat ablaze a bit with the whiteboard behind you too.
Really?
They're loving the. They said you're a true engineer. You've got diagrams on your whiteboard. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Distributed engineering design for some distributed stuff we're doing with Greengrass. So if you guys can figure that out, that'll be great. But
Swami, let's go to you. Over you going to reInvent since it started. Has it changed? Has it stayed the same?
It has always, things that have stayed the same. It has always been, as Jeff and Bill pointed out, it was intended to be a learning conference, and it is still the same in many ways for customers to continue to come and learn how others are building on AWS and how to use these to really transform their business. That is really a great thing to see. What has changed? Obviously the scale of the event has changed. So in early days of AWS, this was even before reInvent, AWS itself was probably the size of a conference room. Our all hands used to be in a single conference room, maybe. So maybe a little bigger conference room, but still it was that. But and now, if you go to reInvent, you suddenly realize, wow, this is actually something. And every year it continues to amaze me. So, and at some point along the way at reInvent, Andy, Adam, and other leaders also said, okay, now it's time for data and ML to actually, there is so much happening there. So they actually made me do a keynote separately on its own as well. So that kind of changed the pace for me for reInvent in terms of the amount of preparation. So that's probably one big change, but it more speaks to where the industry is in terms of where data transformation and data and machine learning is really the heart of all our customers in terms of how they are trying to reinvent their business. So this is a big area of focus for us as well, right from actually data ingestion to actually storing and querying your data with things like Aurora or Dynamo, or many of our purpose-built database services, to running analytics with Redshift and EMR, to actually doing also innovating with machine learning with SageMaker and many of our AI services. So you're going to cover the end-to-end gamut and all the innovations that we have been doing throughout the year, but also all the new launches that we are hoping to get to you all as well. So it should be fun, exciting.
You're setting me up for my next question here, Swami. I love it. Also, I love that you snuck in there a little reinvent their business. You said the name of the thing. It's amazing. Anyway, so the next question I wanted us all to talk about is, I think a lot of people look to reInvent as, oh, that's the launch conference. Like, that's the time they're going to launch all the exciting new things. But really, if you pay attention throughout the year, it's kind of like a sous vide, to use a cooking analogy, where it's a long, low temperature warming, right? We're launching things all the time. So I wanted to talk with all of you about, were there any launches this year that really stood out for you prior to reInvent, right? That maybe could have been a reInvent launch. Anything? And I'll turn it to anybody who wants to answer first.
So I actually was taking a look at what we launched last year at reInvent, and three that really stuck out for me, because even though we do a lot of amazing high-level things, I'm really old school, so sometimes the basics are what really kind of light me up. And three things that really caught my eye were when we launched the Outpost servers, and we gave customers the ability to just have like the rack unit that they could put their Outposts in and run their local AWS services. I thought that was pretty amazing. We launched the M1 Mac instances to let customers build and test and deploy their Mac software on AWS. That's totally amazing. And then the third one that just really I thought was memorable and I really enjoyed writing the post for was the Nitro SSD. And the amount of custom engineering and the amount of understanding of customer needs that we put into the Nitro SSD, just to pick one piece, but one really important piece of what we do to build amazing instances. I found all three of these to be things that just stood out for me as like, wow, we're doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I'll just add, I mean, what you said is totally right, that reInvent is not the only time we actually launch. One of the amazing things about the cloud model is we actually launch stuff when they are ready in a big, meaningful way. And even before reInvent, for instance, DynamoDB, we picked, I think, one really a day in January, which ended up being the day when the entire Seattle was in the middle of a snowstorm. And it was, I walked in like 1 foot of snow to get to the launch call in a live broadcast. Like
I remember that.
Yeah. So to your point, this year we actually, leading up to even reInvent, we had some really big capabilities that our customers already loved in a big way and using it. Like Aurora Serverless V2 was launched.
Oh yeah.
Like early in the year, and Code Whisperer, was a big launch where we are using machine learning to help software developers actually write code faster and in a more secure manner as well. And then recently, Athena added a lot of new capabilities to actually support more open source data lakes and various other things. Normally, some of these capabilities, especially the ones we launched, or MemoryDB launched with data tiering, which will improve cost by double-digit percentage for latency-sensitive applications. Normally, many of these capabilities we might end up reserving for a big stage, a keynote stage launch, but we don't, mostly because we also have a lot of launches happening in the agreement. But
We do.
so I do think it is a good thing, and this is what we are have as a culture, and is that we like to launch stuff as soon as they are ready, instead of actually making reInvent as the only place to launch it, because our customers want to get their hands on these things as soon as they are ready and being available. And we want to keep reInvent continue to be a big learning conference as well. And I would encourage all our attendees to also attend some of the workshops in addition to the talk as well.
A lot of times we'll also launch things coming up to reInvent. There'll be a whole bunch of launches coming the first 3 months before reInvent. Like, for example, we have a thing called Storage Day where we launch a bunch of our storage products, and that gets rolled out. We had a DevOps or Cloud Ops Day where we launched a whole bunch of management governance tools, system manager extensions, all of those kinds of things, which is really important for a lot of our customers as they get to be larger enterprises. And other things that stand out for me, I mean, like Graviton is just magical.
Oh, yeah.
We're rolling into all of our internal services onto Graviton, just huge savings. I can't say enough about how great it is and what I'm seeing with our customers on it. Obviously, I'm really excited about all the quantum computing. We just launched QERA recently, which is a Reinberg atom-based quantum computer with 256 qubits on it. So very exciting there, along with pulse control for quantum computers for those who are into that. Our new Trainium is just coming online, which is really exciting. I know Swami is going to be leveraging that a lot. I think that's going to be exciting in hardware acceleration there. So, we in my area, we open sourced the game engine a little while ago. So 3D is getting a lot of pickup in the industry there for doing 3D processing, and Twin Maker, and FleetWise, things like that are pretty exciting too. And they a lot of times will launch them preview at reInvent, and then the GA follows up. And so it's very exciting to kind of get a double launch, if you like. You get preview, people play with it, try it out. But we have something like 6,000 customers building digital twins now on Twin Maker, which is very interesting.
Yeah, well, and I think to your point, Bill, earlier, and to Swami's point too, is we're launching things when it's ready, because that's what the customers are asking for. So it's not like we save up all of these things. It's just an awesome time where we get to people get to be on stage and announce those cool new launches. So my next question is more about the behind the scenes. And I know we can't share all the things behind the scenes, but I think when people think of reInvent, they think of the energy and they think of everything going on. But I don't know if everyone really knows the work that goes into it. I know Swami hinted at that's changed from him from doing the speeches or doing the keynotes. And Billy, you kind of talked about your team still has a lot going on. So this question's open to everyone, but would love to hear a little bit about some of the things that we can share about the behind the scenes work.
Well, we're also building up for Black Friday and, Cyber Monday and all that other stuff. So we've got sort of all the capacity components we're working on as we're rolling up on all of these launches. And I know Andy before and Adam now, they like when they announce a thing, they want it to launch. And so we have a launch room with a whole bunch of people who are all working, getting ready for launch, and all the pipelines, getting ready to turn on the consoles and turn on things. When Andy says, "and available today," there's a bunch of people typing up. It's really running the launch script. So there's a whole team there in a launch room doing that. It's hard to coordinate. It really is.
So Bill, being part of that and having all the right content and having it accurately describe what we're launching and getting that content online within seconds after the announcements are made from the keynotes is something that I think we take for granted that is just the way it can and should be done. But every year I get all these great compliments from our audience that says it's pretty amazing that you get the content out even the same day as it's announced. And amazingly enough, what you said on the stage actually matches what you put in writing, and it's all based in reality, which it's hard to imagine a different way, but it's so good that we've got that tight coordination and that ability to get the content there. So when people want to learn more, it's there and it's ready, and we try really hard to live up to those expectations.
I definitely want to hear from Annie, who I imagine most of her life is consumed by this. Annie, we're less than 2 weeks, as you aptly told me before we went live. We're less than 2 weeks away from reInvent. You're going to start planning for reInvent soon, right?
Oh, we've already started planning next year. So we run on a more than 365-day cycle. So we've already kicked off reInvent 2023 planning. But 9 days out, we are ready to be there, I think, is the sentiment on the team. But I mean, we have people who work on reInvent 365 days of the year. Everything that happens, whether it's every meal that we serve, every bus that drops people off, what the keynote hall looks like, what the leadership sessions look like, what the website looks like, the creative elements, all of those things, all of the breakout sessions, the team is already there. We've already started loading in. So we're 9 days out from customers coming. Half of our team is already in Vegas, getting things built and ready. I'll be there this weekend. I have to fly there and then fly home and have Thanksgiving with my family and then fly back to reInvent on Friday. But we just love bringing this event to life. There's so much passion from our team in every element, and we spend so much time and care from the the hoodie design, like I said, to every meal, and how we can make the event more sustainable, and how we can make bigger impacts to the Las Vegas community. So we just this is our favorite 2 weeks of the year, and we couldn't be more excited to get the first customers there. My favorite moment is always when I see the first person wearing a hoodie, because we're there behind the scenes, and then maybe there's a couple customers, you're like, oh, I think those might be customers, and then when I see the first hoodie out in the wild, and then it's immediately followed by like 20,000 people in the hoodie.
Yeah.
But every year, the first time I spot someone wearing the hoodie is always a big moment for me, working on the designs of those. So I love that.
Before I want to ask Swami about the keynote specifically too, but before we do, Annie, I wanted my buddy Gunnar here. This is what makes it worth it, right? Like Gunnar's describing what he loves about reInvent here. Same thing that I love about reInvent. Gunnar's a good friend of mine. I don't see him hardly ever, but we're very close. And reInvent is always a time I look forward to because I know I'm going to see him. So I think that's true for a lot of our customers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Getting that time in person with a bunch of colleagues that share similar ideas, that share similar passions, and learning from each other, right? To go back to Swami talking about a learning conference. But Swami, you mentioned keynotes, and you do a keynote now, and one of my favorite keynotes, not to pick favorites, obviously. They're all equally my favorite, but I do love your keynote, Swami. How much prep goes into that? You hinted at it a bit, but how much prep goes into that for you?
More than probably one would imagine. We typically start working on the keynotes starting sometime around August. Just to get color, so Amazon, AWS has the yearly planning cycle in June and July, where we actually write all our plans for the next 18, 24 months and get them done. And then I take 2 weeks break. And then right after, then we start talking about reInvent keynote. The intensity doesn't start, but until the last probably 3-4 weeks. But the whole reason we start that early is also, first, we kind of have a notion of first, what are all the topics that are top of mind for our customers? And then how do we want to actually connect the dots to tell, what does it mean? Let's take like the end-to-end data strategy is super important for our customers right now that they are thinking through. But it means 20 things to 20 people or 200 things to even those 20 people. So frame it in a way that builders understand, irrespective of you're a developer or a data engineer or a BI analyst or a CIO or a chief data officer or any of them. You got to actually cater to each of these person, and each of them have to take away something. So thinking through the end-to-end story, and then also explain how AWS, our services and partners are working together to solve some of these problems is kind of the thing we are trying to tell in keynotes like mine. So forming the story and making it engaging, because people have to sit through 1.5 hours of these things. So you got to actually making it engaging into a storyline instead of me talking about how consensus in a distributed system is a very hard problem. It might appeal to probably 200 people in the world. Why Paxos is cool, but may not be for 20,000 people or 200,000 people. Trying to figure out what is the right level. And you have an amazing team that actually helps with also this content development, but also but we don't want it to be so high level that people, technologists and developers really want to understand what does this mean, because they want to actually, I had many cases where when we launched SageMaker or actually Dynamo or others, literally people started using it right then and there at the end of the day. So So they want to understand what this means. So they not only they look at the keynote when Jeff Barr writes his blog, he writes it to a point people know how to actually use it, and then they actually go try it. And if something is broken, I guarantee I will have like 20 mails in my inbox right there. So on this, so that's why I actually love this keynote process, because it also helps us clarify how we want to communicate. Also to a broad set of audience in a crisp way. So we kind of use that as a vehicle as well. So we go through regular check-ins along the way, and then we even know how the launch fit in the story as well. So hopefully you all like this story on the keynote, which we are doing this.
Yeah, but it's also important to know we always include customers in our keynote.
Yes.
We don't want to launch something without a customer saying they've used it and talk about how they're going to use it and where they're going to do that, because we want people to hear from customers, not just our point of view, but how it valued the customer, or how they did it, or how they transformed their business. But the real reason is that when we're doing the keynote, Swami needs to have a break. Chance to go take a break. No, really. But I mean, the customers are just so important.
I agree.
Working backwards from the customers and planning those customers ahead of time and having them be ready and coordinate in. I mean, Annie's team does an amazing job making sure it all falls into place, right? And everybody's there on time and delivers it properly.
Yeah, I got a shout out too. I don't know that everybody readily knows this, especially externally. I don't even know if internal employees know this necessarily too, but there's a whole team that are very technical under Michael Ender, the keynotes team, very close with one of the people on it, Nick Walsh. So I hear a lot about this. They're there to make sure that the keynotes are also appealing, like Swami said, to the developers who are going to use these services. And these are all devs. Like these are all, people who have software engineering backgrounds or other engineering backgrounds, making sure that this content is reaching engineers as well. So I love that team. I think they do a great job really making it relevant to developers as well.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy how fast time has flown, but we're getting towards the end of our time together here. So the last thing that we want to ask is, what do you recommend people checking out? What are those top things? And Jeff, I'll hand it to you. What are those top things, and why is it AWS Game Day?
Sure. Let's see. Oh, no. So first, I like Bill, I recommend wearing really good shoes. My wife and I joke sometimes that we calibrate our shoes in the number of hours that you can wear them, especially hers. And do not wear your 2-hour shoes to reInvent. That would be a huge mistake. But Game Day is super, super fun. I've gotten to watch a couple times and would really encourage folks to show up. It takes place in Mandalay Bay, and there's no pre-registration. You need to show up there at one of the sessions. There's no reserved seating. It's just a great way for people to learn AWS. And it's a friendly competition. It's not like a blood sport or anything like that. It's a friendly competition. It's a great group setting. It's open to really all levels of AWS users. And you do need to bring your laptop. And I'm actually going to be at both of the sessions on Monday, and looking forward to watching and maybe getting even to participate a bit in the game day.
Awesome. I will be there too, so I will see you. What is your recommendations, Bill, of what people should check out while they're there?
Well, obviously, I mentioned the IoT sessions are going to be amazingly cool, because you'll get to see how to turn on and manage IoT devices. Some of the robotics sessions. If you're really interested in quantum, there'll be sessions on that. There'll be sessions on edge computing and edge to cloud on IoT, and also great storage sessions as well. I mean, storage is really, really important, and it kind of backs up a lot of the stuff that Swami's team does as well, because you got to store it as well as be able to query it and run machine learning across it. And I also would encourage the HPC sessions if you're interested in high performance computing, management simulation. Those kinds of things are really amazing. So again, take advantage of the exhibit hall too. But plan your sessions out, go to the keynotes so you can see what's getting launched, and go to some of the breakout sessions of the things you're interested in. And it's also a great time to get certified, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, Bill. Why do you say that? I mean, I think you're absolutely right. But
Yeah, I
but
think
what
there's
in particular?
Yeah, so you have sort of, I would call it, a mass certifications, if you like, where the groups who can get together and all take the certification test together and do that. So getting ready for that is something I'd recommend. Getting AWS certified, just a great way to understand AWS. There's just a tremendous amount of richness in the AWS platform, and getting that familiarity is really a good thing. And even taking some high level classes on AWS to kind of understand the scope of the platform as well, in addition to the coding classes and things like that. It's just I think there's an executive session as well for CIOs and CTOs and things like that that kind of go through all the the services across AWS and how you can take advantage of them and what the best practices are. And you can talk to other CIOs there. There's developer hand-on sessions, there's certification sessions, there's these breakout sessions in specific areas like machine learning or geospatial or satellite systems or IoT or connected car, software-defined vehicles, autonomous vehicles, robotics. I mean, the cloud is really expanding out to the edge in big ways, and of course, huge areas in Swami's area around database and all. Obviously, you'll see Dave will do an amazing job on as will Peter on infrastructure and on compute. So be sure to catch those sessions along with Adam's.
I feel like you just filled up my whole schedule. No.
Look ahead and plan, because you can't do it all. So
that's a great point. Yeah, definitely.
When we talk about the difference between the first reInvent and the current ones, the first one or two were of a size that I think you could at least kind of get a little bit of a sample of all the different things that were happening. And you could almost think that you might be able to briefly say hello to all the attendees. That is no longer the case. There's too much concurrency in too many locations, and I don't think it's actually physically possible to even set foot in every event and to know all of the things that are happening.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'll quickly chime in just a couple of things to what others said. One, I think plan ahead really well with sessions, because many sessions do get filled up pretty soon. We do a good job in adding repeating the sessions as soon as they get filled up, but plan ahead. But also the flip side, in keynotes, we end up launching new things, and then we add those sessions, embargoed sessions on the new launches too. So plan for some of them, at least across the board, with on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and whenever. I don't even know all the things you're launching. I kind of do, but I won't tell. But,
I kind of do.
I do.
Yeah, I agree. Jeff probably knows everything, but
right.
but nonetheless, plan everything. And more importantly, it's also a good place for builders to learn from each other. I actually think, given how early cloud computing is compared to the rest of the IT industry, there is so much opportunity to even build things in a more amazing manner for you to innovate faster, where you can inspire a new wave of builders who are moving to the cloud to actually also get inspired from others who are actually ahead in the space, or teach each other too. So the talks are meant to be that way, but also hopefully you get these sessions across the board and you get to learn from each other in the industry. Also encourage you all to check out the Deep Razor event too. So it should be a good one. I think the finale is meant to be right before my keynote. So let's see who wins this time. So it should be a fun one too. All right.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm excited to hear from you, Annie, because I heard there's a lot of new things that customers have asked for that you're delivering, you and your team are delivering this year. So what are some of those things that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I would say first, my pro tip, kind of just to layer on something AM said, was meet up with people. Use reInvent to network. I never say no. If someone is like, hey, can you meet? I might be 10 p.m. when I can meet you, because I'm finally done for the day. But I pack my calendar in with networking, catching up with coworkers, catching, people who work at AWS but work on the other side of the globe, people who used to work at AWS who now work at partners. I always plan a lot of networking. You can sleep when you're dead, folks. Like I just give up on sleep during the week of reInvent.
Yeah.
Breakfast meetings, pop by a happy hour if you get an invite. Don't say no, because those are really important opportunities for you to connect. You never know what the next opportunity is, or someone's going to say something that sparks something. And kind of going along with that, reInvent's so big, it can be a little bit intimidating. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we've had over the years is, how can you help me network, right? And so this year we have something called Peer Talk, which is a way for you to schedule meetings with other people. We've got a bunch of people already opted in. Jeff is in there. I'm in there. So we've got AWS folks. We've got our community heroes. We've got other experts. You can schedule a meeting with them and take advantage of that. It is a way for you to say, hey, I'm an expert in this topic. I'd love to explain what I know. And if you have questions in another topic, you can get those questions answered. So take advantage of Peer Talk. It's really great. Say yes to all of the happy hours, everything. Double up, go to everything. It is the best way to get the most out of reInvent. I don't even worry about pacing myself. Like Jeff says, I wear comfortable shoes. I'm always freezing in there. So pro tip, it's cold in the basement. But go to all of the things. Go to the expo. Just plan to keep yourself busy the whole time. And you get so much out of it if you do that. And, sessions, all of the things. Also, I would say the other pro tip from the events team, don't let a session being full stop you from going to the walk-up line. Almost half of the people, sometimes they don't show up, right? So if there's a session you're really dying to get into, go to the walk-up line. Don't let it's saying it's full be a blocker for you. It's always best to go try, but there are still hundreds of sessions that have seats available. So go through the session catalog, really dive in there. I've had people say, I only wanted to go to 5 sessions. Like, there are way more than 5 sessions you should be going to, and so there are leadership sessions, there are keynotes, all of the things. Just take it all in. You can tell I'm so passionate about it.
Let reInvent hit you. I do have one more question for you, Annie, but before, so Swami was telling us all about the prep he has to do for the keynote. So we do have to let Swami go, but thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your insight and tips that you shared, and we'll see you at reInvent.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again.
Thanks, Swami.
So Annie, I think one thing you mentioned before we started filming was something about reInvent swag that's new than previous years.
Thank you. Yes, we have merch this year. So it's things you can buy. We have a whole host of jackets and t-shirts, hats, fanny packs, dog leashes, coffee mugs, all sorts of things. It's something that I'm so excited, as the person who runs the brand team, I'm so excited to get this out. You can buy your favorite AWS merch. It's in the expo right near the AWS Village. So come check it out. It's also available online. Things are already selling out. So it's crazy. Our customers love a piece of gear. So get your AWS merch online or at reInvent.
I wanted to actually circle back a little bit to the Peer Talk session. We had a question come in via YouTube Live from Quantum Computing with Anna about, with an AWS certificate and a burning desire, can you get a job? I love that description. The burning desire, I think, is probably the most important, not to dismiss the AWS certificate, which is also of equal importance. But you can ask questions like that to real AWS employees at Peer Talk. You can ask what it takes to get a job at AWS. This is something about myself I always love sharing because I started life as an elementary school teacher, right? So I was an elementary school teacher for about 3 years at a college, and I made the transition to tech as a software engineer. And it was an incredible and difficult journey. And I love talking to people about that because that helps us get more people into the tech field that come from different backgrounds, that have different experiences. And I think this Peer Talk event is incredibly important thing that you're rolling out, Annie. I'm so glad to see it. available. It's truly, I think, how we continue to grow the tech industry.
Yeah.
And the Peer Talk booth or Peer Talk area I heard was by the AWS On Air area.
Yeah.
There's actually areas all across campus. So if you're
that's
at
amazing.
the Venetian, you can go there. If you're at Mandalay, you can go there. We have space at Caesar's Forum and Win Encore. So there's lots of places. We wanted to make it really easy for you to find a place, have a table, because if you've been to reInvent before, space is always at a premium. So we've got space dedicated for this across all of the venues.
This is why I'm so glad you're here, because I wouldn't have known that either. So I've been like trekking to the Venetian. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, we've officially crossed the after show time. So definitely, Annie, Bill, Jeff, we know you guys are busy people, or you are all busy people. So if you need to hop off, go for it. But if you want to stay, AM and I will be talking about more stuff reInvent. And so we're happy to have you stay and join us.
I got to run, but thanks for having me. I'm so excited. And if you see me at reInvent, stop and say hi. I love meeting customers. So please don't be shy. Come up, say hello, take a selfie. I love talking to customers.
Awesome. Thanks for all you guys do. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you there.
Yeah. Take care. It's same for me. If anybody sees me there, they're welcome to come up. I want to talk about robots or quantum computing, connected car, simulation, autonomy, storage, networking, computing, any of those topics. I'm more than happy to have discussions in those areas and talk about what we're doing and what we're working on in those areas. It's a pretty amazing portfolio.
Yeah.
Be sure to ask Bill about his whiteboard.
Try to figure out what that is, and I can give you a little bit of background on that. So anyway, take care, and thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing people at reInvent.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Annie.
All right, there was one.
Oh, that was fun. Super fun. I don't want to undersell how important it is for all of us AWS employees to get to meet our customers. That's not some optional thing for us. You learn so much from meeting with your customers, and hopefully this doesn't come across as weird, but after I talk to customers and they say that they really like some particular piece of content I've created or how I've described something, I try to almost capture that conversation in my head. And the next time I'm thinking about writing about that topic or just writing in general or struggling to get something just right, I'll try to think back in my head to that exact conversation and say, whatever I did last time that made a really positive impact on that customer at that conversation, I need to get to that point again. It's like I'm writing for this audience of actually one person, that person I talked to that said, Jeff, that blog post you wrote about quantum computing or Lambda or serverless or whatever it was, that really explained things well for me. I think of that exact person, think, okay, I can't let them down. I got to do at least as well as I did last time. So I personally really value, and it's not that I want compliments. It's that I need to know that there's an audience and that I just really want to understand what works for people. And if I say, well, did you like this part or that part? And that feedback is to me, super, super valuable. And sometimes we're sitting here typing in our keyboards and just putting a bunch of words out into the air, but that opportunity to hear and to say, wow, this really worked, and I read about this and I put something into practice, or it wasn't as good as you said it was. Well, okay, I'll try to do better next time. But whatever the feedback is, I love it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that idea. And that's something I try to think about too, is this might be I can't remember the number, but it was Annie's 9th reInvent and Swami's 11th reInvent. And sometimes it's people's first reInvent. So bringing that new energy forward every time you're writing a blog post or you're running into someone, really being this could be their first time here. And yes, you've done this over and over, but it's new for a lot of people that join us.
Exactly. And I also like Bill and Annie, I absolutely love to meet people and to say hello. And if they want to chat or take a selfie or whatever they like to do, I'm booked pretty busy, but I'm almost never too busy to stop and say hello to somebody. So don't think, oh my gosh, these AWS people are like celebrities or something, or they're up on a pedestal. We're just regular people doing a job that has made us well known within the AWS community. We still love to talk and to be human and to get to meet people.
Yeah, for sure. One of my driving factors for everything is honestly, how do I make tech more accessible to more people? Like that's at the heart of, I think, almost every decision I try to make when I'm working on something, for be it reInvent or just, like next week's deadline. I want to inject that into everything I do, because I remember back to when I was getting started. It's a really intimidating place. It's a really intimidating thing to once you start to feel comfortable and get the knowledge that you need to be successful, you realize you don't have enough knowledge, and you're never going to have enough knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to live in that place. So I feel like reInvent's a really great time for us to all, get together, hear that from one another, and normalize it, right? And be okay with, there's a breakneck pace of change in technology, but we're all here to support each other on how to learn, the pieces that we need, and how to get access to the things that we need to push our own careers, our companies, our projects, our outcomes to the next level, right? And honestly, that's absolutely what I've experienced at every reInvent I've gone to, both as an employee and prior when I was a customer. What about you, Marie? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I want to just double down on this whole learning aspect, because the world is changing so fast that it seems to me that the half-life of some of our knowledge right now is maybe 18 months. And if you don't find a way just to incorporate some learning into your everyday methodology of what you do, you can't just say, well, I'll just let my knowledge decline, and then I'll figure out at some point I'm out of date, then I'll just do this big catch up. You need to just engineer learning into what you do all the time.
Yeah, I love that. And before I jump to the next topic, I do, for everyone listening, wherever platform you're watching from, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot them out. We'll be hanging out in the quote unquote after show here for a little bit. So if you have any questions that you want answered, don't hesitate to post them. But I really wanted to talk, we didn't get a chance to talk about this with the group earlier. I wanted to talk about our favorite things. So whether it's a favorite memory or a favorite thing at reInvent, I know for me, you kind of hit on it, Jeff. I love to learn. That's why I'm here at AWS. So I love all the learning opportunities that reInvent provides. And waking up really early, leaving my hotel room, listening to the music blasting at like 6 a.m, wondering why they need to do that on the strip. But then getting to go and learn all day. So learning from customers, partners, my colleagues, and everyone. That's my beyond favorite part of being a part of reInvent each year. What is yours, Jeff?
Well, this year's going to be very special for me, because this is going to be Take Your Child to Work Day. My son Stephen is a grown adult, but he's doing the same job I am for a company he works for, and this is going to be his first reInvent, and it's going to be super fun to be in the same place with him and get to see what he's up to and get to have him share in all the reInvent excitement.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What about you, Ian?
I've got to say, it's the thing I keep returning to every year. It was called AWS Launchpad back when I started. It's now called AWS On Air. But being able to connect with people who can't necessarily make it to Vegas, right, through our live stream is one of my favorite things that I get to do. I feel very fortunate that I get to be on these streams. But it's incredibly exciting, because not only am I learning in real time as we talk to, the PMs for the products that have just launched, we also feature partners. We also feature customers. We have a lot of different sessions on AWS On Air, and I, along with the audience, get to learn. So it's a really great place to be. And I would be remiss too if I don't call out Game Day, of course, AWS Game Day, because it's a great way to get hands-on, which, no matter where you're at in your journey in tech, getting hands-on is vitally important to that learning, that you're doing, because it's great to read, it's great to get things to you, in theory, but then to put it into practice, you learn so much more that you would not anticipate. And you really get to see how things get put together. And building on that foundational knowledge, you start to, recognize patterns, throughout your own work, throughout other projects that you work on. And you can apply what you've learned from things like game day into your real life problems and solving them.
Yeah. It's really important, I think, both Marie and AM to kind of think about is people probably think that all of us at AWS, we somehow already know everything about what everything is and what it does and how it works and how to use it. I don't know about you, but for me, nothing could be further from the truth. I have imposter syndrome 24 hours a day because we're just doing so many new things, and there's no way that I can stay deeply immersed in all of it. Yeah. So it's not just that we know everything and the customers are learning from us. We get to learn from each other and from the customers as well.
Yeah, I love that point. I share this story a lot of time when I'm doing interviews and stuff, but when I started at AWS, which was not as long ago as you, Jeff, but there's only 67 services, and I knew every single one. And I was like, I got this. And then obviously it just grew and grew and grew. But to your point, yeah, we don't know everything. And so we're learning just as much as our customers and partners and everyone that's joining are learning. So it's definitely a great event for employees as well.
I had something pop up on the console yesterday, like a new feature of a service. And I saw the service and oh, that sounds really, really cool. And I didn't recall that we'd ever launched that service, and I did a quick search, and not only had we launched it a year ago, but I was the one who wrote the launch blog post for it. So
of course,
that was like, oh, interesting. That was a great post.
No, I love that. Yeah, I mean that's the best part is we get to be a part of the excitement and knowing the launches along with our customers. So
yeah.
But yeah, do either of you have a favorite particular memory from reInvent? So there's a lot of years of memory opportunities. But yeah, do either of you have one?
Well, so we have this rule within the news blog team that we always have a blog post for tier 1 launches from the stage, especially if they're instance types. And we had maintained that truth for a long time. And there was one reInvent, and we were sitting in the war room, and inadvertently a slide hadn't been taken out of somebody's deck, and they went ahead and announced a brand new instance type that we were not prepared to actually write about. And social media was like super lit up about, oh, this cool new type. Yeah. And we're at this deficit of we didn't actually have content for it. And I had to remedy the situation right away, and luckily we had one of the product managers for EC2 was in the launch war room, and I handed off all my other duties to somebody else, and I said, okay, I'm putting on my headphones and I'm going to write this blog post in 20 minutes, and I'm going to tune out the outside world. And I got all the facts. I wrote the entire post in 20 minutes. The product manager approved it, and we got it out, and it was like the most intensely focused I've ever been. Like someone got a picture, and I had these laser beams like focused on the screen. And it was like that intensity of like, I can't let the audience down. I just have to get this content ready for them was so much fun to be able to do. And the world would have ended if we didn't have it, but it was just really neat to be able to say, okay, I can do this that fast and that well if I need to.
Yeah, the customer obsession. Yeah.
You weren't even writing at that point, Jeff. You were just like mentally altering the zeros and ones directly with your brain. For me, I mean, it's not necessarily one standout, although I do have to say, she's no longer at AWS, but I used to have a co-host that I would host a lot of things with, Nikki Stone. And working with her on Launchpad at reInvent, definitely one of the things that stands out for me. But in general, I think it's those types of connections, right? It's what happens after, all of the launches and all of the day is done, right? Like the nights when I get to go and see all the people that I've made connections with. This is going to be my pro tip for reInvent, because Marie knows this about me, but I'm a secret introvert. I pretend that I'm an extrovert. And for all of those introverts out there, it is incredibly difficult to motivate yourself to put yourself out there and to go to these things. Like every time I see a happy hour or like a party pop up, I am filled with anxiety and dread because I'm just like, oh, I'm terrified of people. So you have to push past it because so many great outcomes come from going to these events and meeting up with these people. It's such a big group of people that you can find, more people that have exactly the same, interests as you. You could find somebody using, Golang specifically with the AWS SAM CLI to deploy Lambda functions. And there's going to be like, 50 of those people all in one place, and they're all meeting for, a happy hour at some place. And you go there and, you're sweating if you're me, filled with anxiety, not wanting to make eye contact with anyone. And it immediately goes away because you just feel at home. You feel like you're talking to people that get you, that understand, all the trials, tribulations, success, all of the stuff that you've gone through. And, it's worth it at the end of the day, even though internally I'm fighting it the whole time.
I actually totally identify with that. I do love to meet people, and but I also love my one-on-one by myself quiet time. So to do kind of like recharge and be myself again. So one tip I'm trying to kind of make this a thing. When you're at these social events, natural kind of physics makes people always make these closed circles as they're talking. Like they all, there's like this thing in us that just is like, let's just equidistant from each other, and we make these circles. Those circles make it really hard for someone new to want to join your conversation. So have a bit of consciousness of your circle and leave a tiny bit of gap where some new person could just easily feel like they are welcome to join into your conversation.
Yeah, I love that, Jeff. I think, especially with this reInvent, obviously last year was a little bit different, a little bit smaller, and this one being kind of back to normal. I think that's a great call out of just creating some level of inclusivity so that everyone can kind of rejoin the conversation. We've been out of practice for a couple of years, so
we have.
I love that. Well, I am not a secret introvert. I am an introvert. I'm full on introvert. So yeah, I love those tips and recharging. And I think, Jeff, you mentioned earlier how you like marinate on customer and partner conversations. And so like even just having like a journal and writing down those things before going to bed so that you don't forget those exciting things that you learned. But I have two core memories from reInvent. One was in 2018. I've been in the partner network for a long time. And so we were trying to come up with a way to meet as many partners as we could. And so we kind of did a speed dating thing with partners. And it was crazy and chaotic, but it was so fun. And I think it was like 50 partners in a short period of time, and got to help them kind of continue their journey in the partner network. So that was my one memory. And then going back to the conversation we had with the larger group of a launch last year. So I have the privilege of leading the AWS Game Day team. And last year we launched a partner benefit. So AWS Game Day benefits for partners. And oh my gosh, the blood, sweat, and tears as far as getting the what's new post and getting everything sorted for that actual launch. But it was just so rewarding to watch our team. It's an amazing team. I will not take credit for all of their work. They just working so hard to make sure we delivered an amazing benefit for our partners. And so that was definitely a core memory where, you're in it and you're feeling it and you get to hear it in a keynote. It's just a really exciting journey. So looking forward to this year as well.
Marie, Robert Tables, I love this. Not the only person who forgot how to human over 2 years. Some of us never knew how, Robert. Some of us haven't learned it yet. I'm still working on it. But yeah, that's another little tip of mine too, is if you can for the weekend or so after reInvent, plan maybe like a nice relaxing time for yourself. Because at my house, for example, I go into a dark room and I don't emerge again until Sunday, because like you, Jeff, I need the quiet, the alone time to recharge my social battery. So just keep that in mind. If you know that about yourself, be sure to schedule that in if you can.
Yeah.
A lot of us have, competing interests or
I think sometimes you can actually literally run out of words. Like you've like used your quota for the day or the week, and there's like you like have nothing left to say.
Like a robot, like shutting down, going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm surprised no one said this. I was thinking about this earlier, but drink water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it's one of those human things, right?
Yeah. One, get in line early for coffee. If you're a coffee drinker like me, I actually usually get to a coffee stand around 6 a.m. right when they open up, but no one has to copy that if you don't want to. But drinking water, because to Jeff's point, you're talking a lot, you're running around a lot, it's really easy to forget. So shoes, water, all the basic humaning things. So
yeah, and Las Vegas is a desert after all.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that when you're looking at the Bellagio fountain, isn't it? Yeah. Be sure to take care of yourself. It's great to push yourself to learn and try and get all the things in that you can, but also take care of yourself first. It's okay to maybe skip the session because you just need to take a minute. You just need a minute for yourself because you've been going too hard. So
yeah. So
go ahead.
I always work with folks that are working. So a lot of the work for reInvent for me and for the people I work with happens in the 2 months before reInvent. And we're just running flat out, listening to teams and learning from them and preparing outlines and mind maps and writing drafts and iterating on drafts and figuring out how to communicate concepts. And we're going flat out. And I try to keep all the other parts of my life moving as well. And I don't just say, oh, sorry, reInvent, I can't do anything else. But it is really, really hard to keep your energy level going. But I do tell people, plan the slope of your energy so that you run out at the end of the week. You can't show up in Vegas exhausted with no energy reserves. You have to make sure that your energy reserves are going to actually keep you going through the week. You can recover afterward or sleep when you're dead, as Annie said, but you have to make sure you arrive energetic.
Yeah.
That's true. I love the Robert Tables getting that Burt's Bees. That's a good tip right there.
All right, I'm gonna have to drop. Looks like my construction is just about wrapped up, and they wanted to show me how it looks. But great to see all of you, and I will see you in Vegas.
Thanks.
Awesome. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
See you there.